Uncle, am I audible?
Yes, yes, ma'am. I will tell the Ramakrishnan is the host. I will tell our Ramakrishnan to mute everyone so we can continue smoothly.
I welcome you all for the 5th session of Discover Yourselves. I hope you have been enjoying all the 4 sessions. So I have been receiving some questions on my WhatsApp. So I encourage all of you to ask questions, because unless we ask questions, we cannot progress in spiritual life. So either if you do not get time here, because we have shortage of time here in this session, please, all of you are most welcome to ask me questions on the WhatsApp group. Please feel free to ask your questions. So without wasting our time, let's start with our today's session. I'll share the screen. So today's topic is, if God is one, then why there are so many religions? Okay. So we always know that, we belong to a certain religious group, but do we actually know what is the meaning of religion? Yeah. We know there are so many religions existing. There is Hindu religion, there is Muslim religion, then there is Christian, there is Buddhist. So many, there is, an umpteen number of religions are there. Do we know the exact meaning of religion? Religion means obedience to God for the purpose of developing our love of God. That is the actual true meaning of religion as given by our scriptures. Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, we're not talking today, we are talking about some millions of years ago. He gave this knowledge, this transcendental knowledge, to sun god, and his name was Vivasavan. So, okay, his name was Vivasavan. Now, tell me, was there any religion, just a rough calculation, was there any religion present millions of years ago? So Krishna gave the transcendental knowledge or the spiritual knowledge to sun god Vivaswan, and we are talking about millions of years ago. Yeah. And he gave all this knowledge in the Vedas. So in the beginning of creation, when the universe and the what do you call the Srishti was created, Krishna gave this entire knowledge. Now you may ask, what is the meaning of Vedas? Vedas actually contain, the full knowledge of material as well as spiritual world. And what is the purpose? Well, the purpose is to guide human being towards the ultimate goal. And what is the ultimate goal? The ultimate goal is love of God. Okay, so when Krishna gave this knowledge, he would have done something really intelligent. And what intelligent thing he did was he established Sanatan Dharma. There's something called Sanatan Dharma. Like, let's take a simple example. Like, for making and governing the laws, we have a president in our country, right? Similarly, the head of the universe is Krishna. And the head of the universe makes certain laws and certain religion. And Krishna made a religion whose name was Sanatan Dharma. Now, actually, religions, if you ask me, can be changed anytime. You would have definitely heard that, a Hindu got converted to a Muslim, or a Muslim got converted to a Hindu, or a Christian got converted to Hindu, or Hindu got converted to Christian. So many conversions keep happening. But Sanatan Dharma has nothing to do with this Hindu, Christian, Muslim, Sikh, Isai. Sanatan Dharma refers to the activity which cannot be changed. Actually, there is only one religion in the entire world, and the name is Sanatan Dharma. It is the oldest religion established by Lord Krishna himself. Sanatan Dharma means that we are part of God and our natural function is to serve Him with love. So, actually, Sanatan Dharma is a very elaborate topic. And if I start talking, we are going to, spend even 1 hour. 1 hour is also will be less in Sanatan Dharma. So we will definitely take up this topic in some other session. But for the time being, you can just remember that Sanatan Dharma is the eternal and it is the first religion of the world and it is established by Lord Krishna himself. Let's move on to our further session. So, with the process of time, somehow we're talking about millions of years. We are not talking about, tomorrow or today. We're talking about millions of years. So much can happen in millions of years. So, this message which Lord Krishna gave about Sanatana Dharma, this message got lost and it got changed. Now, in order to re-establish this Sanatana Dharma, Krishna renews his teachings. And how does he renew his teachings? Either the Lord comes himself personally or sends his representatives, whether it is Jesus, whether it is Christ, whether it is Jesus Christ, whether it is Muhammad, or whether it is Buddha, whether it is Guru Nanak, so many, or in the Jain, we have so many other Tirthankaras also. So basically, Lord sends his representatives to spread this knowledge, this transcendental knowledge, or this Sanatan Dharma. Okay, so now the question may arise, why does Lord send his representatives? What is the reason for Lord to send his representatives? So point is that not everyone can understand this Sanatan Dharma. Yeah, it is a very high level knowledge, you can say that. Let's understand that, for example, somebody is a postgraduate and he only can understand Sanatan Dharma. But in this world, not everybody is a postgraduate, right? Somebody can be a just graduate, somebody can just be a 12th standard pass, somebody can just be a 10th standard pass. So different people are, have some knowledge, yeah. They will have some basic knowledge, but not everybody has the caliber of a PhD person. In an office also, can a peon do the work of the boss, or can the boss do the work of a peon? Is it possible? So different people have different knowledge and different intelligence. Now, therefore, depending on the understanding level of the people at that time, not today, I'm not talking about today, say thousands of years ago, there were people present with different intelligence. Therefore, Krishna sends his representatives depending on what time it is. Let's understand one example. Now, Lord Buddha, you would have all heard. Actually, Lord Buddha is an incarnation of Krishna himself. Now, when Lord Buddha came, what was happening at that time? There was a lot of cows were getting sacrificed. The animals were getting sacrificed and were eaten by the human population. Now, also, our scriptures do recommend animal sacrifice, but there is a proper procedure and there is a reason for that sacrifice. That sacrifice does not happen for tasting non vegetarian food. When the Vedas offer a sacrifice, it is for some higher purpose. That, of course, is another topic altogether. We can get into it some other time. But when Lord Buddha came, people were rampantly, they were like cruelly, they were killing cows, they were killing animals in the name of the Vedas. So the Vedas, were getting polluted. So when Lord Buddha came, he stopped accepting the Vedic authority because he saw that people, the Brahmins or many other caste people, were twisting the Vedic knowledge just for killing animals and satisfying their tongue. Therefore, in order to stop this activity, Lord Buddha said, there is no Veda. I do not believe in God. I do not believe in Vedas. Therefore, he taught the principle of karma and non-violence. Now, one may argue that Lord Buddha is Krishna, Krishna's incarnation. Yeah. So why does Buddha preaching about that Vedic knowledge is not applicable? Why did he reject the Vedic knowledge? Then why should we study the Vedas? If the Vedic knowledge is not correct, why should I study the Vedas? So we must understand that there was a purpose for which Buddha came. He came to stop animal sacrifices, which is happening due to misuse of the Vedic knowledge. So there is a purpose behind why Lord's incarnations or messengers come. I hope it is a little bit clear. Anjali, is it going fine?
Uh-huh.
Is it all going fine?
Yeah.
Okay, so now apart from Lord Buddha, we have other examples also. We have Jesus Christ, we have Muhammad, Prophet Muhammad. So Lord has been sending his messengers one after the other as according to the time that is in the occurring in the society. Now when Jesus and Muhammad were sent, at that time in both these incarnations, people used to have a lot of sense gratification. What is sense gratification? They would be living only to satisfy their senses. Now, Quran says a very interesting line. Quran says you should not have sex with your mothers and sisters. Is this a thing to be told in a scripture? Tell me something. No, absolutely not. So, what was the reason? What was the reason that why Prophet Muhammad, exalted personalities like Jesus Christ or Muhammad, why would they say something like this that you should not have a sexual relationship with your mother and sister? Which means that when these people came at that time, the society was so animalish, the society was so downtrodden, it was in such a terrible condition that the sexual relation with mothers and sisters was taking place. It is like the extreme culture in any society. It is like a most ghastly sin. So, to establish peace and harmony and some sort of morals in society, Lord sent both Jesus, he also sent Prophet Muhammad. Okay, so there again, as the like Lord Buddha, we saw why did Lord Buddha come? He came to stop animal sacrifice, and he wanted to establish karma and importance of karma and non-violence. Similarly, Jesus Christ came with some purpose, and Prophet Muhammad also came with some purpose. Now, people at that time had very little intelligence. If you try to explain them Vedic knowledge, they will not understand. As I said, that if it's a PhD level education, can a person with 10th standard education understand it? He cannot. So he has to be told that knowledge in according to his mental capabilities. You cannot tell a 10th standard child, about high standard of education, isn't it? Similarly, people in those times when Prophet Muhammad came or when Jesus Christ came, the mental level of that people was really, really low. At that time, to make them understand Vedic philosophies was not possible. Therefore, they were sent to give very, very basic knowledge, very, very basic code of conduct, moral characters. They were told to go and preach. So that was the reason, both these incarnations happened. Similarly, for every other incarnation also, there is a purpose why Lord has sent them. Anjali, there is a Sanskrit line. Should I read that or I should omit that? Can you see the first?
Aham bija pradah pita.
Yeah, shall I omit that?
You want me to sign that line, right?
It's a Sanskrit. The translation is also given next to that. Will you be able to
Yeah, I am the seed giving father, so we get a clear understanding that there is only one God and that is Lord
No, I
Krishna,
was
right?
just talking about Aham Bija Pradapita. Can you do sign language for that?
I can spell that.
You can. Okay. Fine. Okay. So now in Islam, when Muhammad came, he said he is messenger of God. He never said that he is God. Similarly, when Jesus Christ came, he always said that he is the Son of God. He never said that he is God himself. But in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Aham Bija Pradapita.
Aham bija pradah pita, na?
Yes, Aham Bija Pradapita.
Yes, ma'am.
Which means I am the seed giving father. And not just that, Bhagavad Gita is filled with numerous statement by Lord Himself where He declares that He is God. He is the source of the entire creation. So we get a clear understanding that there is only one God, and that is Lord Krishna. Okay. So now Sanatan Dharma is actually the essential truth that underlies all religion. So we see that different messengers of Lord came, Jesus Christ, Muhammad, Guru Nanak, innumerable messengers of Lord came, and they all revealed different scriptures. Muhammad revealed Quran Sharif, Jesus Christ revealed Bible in different languages, and how it came according to time, according to place, according to the circumstances. So the way circumstances was there in that time in society, according to that, they preached all these different scriptures. And of course, important thing is according to the intelligence level of the people who were present at that time. In this way, Vedas, Bible, Quran, and other religious scriptures were made available for the benefit of mankind. Their rituals might differ, but in essence, they are all same. Every messenger of God came to this material world to remind us that we should always remember God, serve God, and love God. So, as I'm sure you would have read on the screen, that Buddha was not a Buddhist, Jesus was not a Christian, Muhammad was not a Muslim. They were all teachers who taught love. Love was their religion. So Srila Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of ISKCON, he said that religion actually means to surrender to God. It doesn't matter what religion you belong to. It doesn't matter, whether you're a Christian or a Sikh, whatever you are. But you must learn how to obey the Supreme Lord. That is religion. Religion does not mean that you stamp some stereotype religion. I'm Christian, I'm Hindu, I'm Muslim, I'm Buddhist, and then fight. This is what is happening nowadays in society, isn't it? Everybody is fighting in the name of religion. That is not religion. That is fanaticism. That is, how do will you be able to make them understand fanaticism, Anjali?
Uh-huh.
Can you make them understand fanaticism?
Canadianism, I did
Fanaticism
not
में जैसे वो
understand.
सनक होती है ना लोगों को, जैसे जिहादी लोग होते हैं, मुसलमान होते हैं,
हाँ 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 हाँ.
like that. So that is not religion, that is fanaticism. Religion means how one has become devoted to God. That actually is true religion. So actually, my dear friends, there is nothing wrong in religion. No religion is bad. No religion is wrong. No religion is superior or inferior. Problem is that people don't know about their religion. People don't read about their religion. Tell me something. Do Hindus read Bhagavad Gita? Do Muslims read Quran Sharif? Do Christians read Bible? Do all of them read their scriptures? How many people talk about religion after reading their scriptures? Tell me how many of you who are listening to this session read Bhagavad Gita? How many of you are reading Bhagavad Gita? So in Bhagavad Gita, if you read Bhagavad Gita, you will become, there will be a total transformation of your character. So the Lord wants us to read those scriptures. If we read the scriptures, thousands and thousands of our questions which are inside us will all get solved. If people read, they will understand that why Sanatana Dharma is greatest, and that our goal should be to follow the Sanatana Dharma, because it is neither Hindu, neither Sikh, Christian, Muslim religion. It is the religion for humanity. Okay, so our founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada spreaded this message. For him, everybody has got a Paramatma residing inside him. So many of his disciples were Christians, so many of his disciples were Hindu, Muslims. Because Prabhupada saw everybody at the level of the soul. He did not see, okay, you are a Christian or you're a Muslim or you're a Hindu. You're a low caste or you're a high caste. Prabhupada never distinguished people with that kind of a quality. For him, everybody is a soul. Everybody is part of the Lord. There is a Paramatma residing inside all living beings. Forget about human beings, even a small ant. So that is true religion, to understand God, to love the other species, because all of them have God inside them. So from this session, we understand that the oldest religion is Sanatana Dharma, where Lord teaches us how to love God. And if we start reading books like Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, we will realize why I'm saying that Krishna is the creator of the universe. He is the cause of all manifestation. We will be able to understand, and we will be more peaceful after understanding all this knowledge. So I humbly suggest all of you to please read Bhagavad Gita. If you do not have hard copy, you can learn it online. I can send you the link, and you can go to the database of ISKCON, and you can read Bhagavad Gita online. Otherwise, we can definitely one day start our room sessions like this about Bhagavad Gita. So that's the end of our session 5 of Discover Yourself journey. Actually, this Discover Yourself journey did not have this particular topic of why one God and so many religions. But since I think we were getting a lot of questions, people wanted to know why there is one God and so many religions. So we specifically took up this topic in order to get this clarification. So I hope it was understandable and it was easy, and any of your doubts would have got cleared. So we will move on to the question answer session. Thank you, Hare Krishna.